Honorable Linda J. Davis.
Present.
The Honorable Fannie Mae Hauser is absent. The Honorable Shanita Nichols.
Present.
The Honorable Samuel Perry.
Present.
And the Honorable Ulysses J. Smallwood.
Present.
I have a quorum.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. First agenda item.
Agenda item is 2020.
I'm excited to partner with Maud. He will be presenting this of financial ACFR for September 30th, 2025.
Thanks for the introduction, and to the mayor and council for having me. I see some new faces up here, so nice to meet you. And as Jamila said, I'm Josh. I'm a partner with Malden and Jenkins. 25 audit. I'm going to do. Got some, and then I got questions at the. Me. Went along.
Clear. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. So this slide here, this is a kind of a snapshot of Malden and Jenkins. We've been around over 100 years now. We spend a lot of time and energy invested in state and local government audits. I spend my entire year auditing nothing but counties and cities and development authorities and state agencies. We audit a lot of your neighbors. Everybody that worked on your audit is in the same position. They spend their whole year doing state and local government audits. I don't do any tax work, so we bring a lot of expertise to your audit. And I had Hope Pendergrass. She's in a completely other office from me up here in Atlanta, and she did a quality control review. She kind of comes behind me, looks at a really high level, make sure we followed all the standards, and we kind of didn't miss anything. And we try to rotate that person so someone new with a new set of fresh eyes is always looking at things. The statements are the responsibility of the city's management. Our objective as your external auditors express an opinion. We followed all the generally accepted auditing standards and government auditing standards, and those are kind of what guide a governmental audit, why we do what we do, and everything that ends up in your audit report. So we followed all those standards, and we did issue an unmodified or a clean opinion, which is what you'd hope to receive from your audit. So as far as we're concerned, the financial statements that were submitted to the state and the GFOA and that are published on your website, they're materially correct. We also issue a report on compliance and control. We come in and kind of visit all the departments. We look at how you receipt cash, how you disperse cash, how you're onboarded employee, how you terminate an employee, how you enter into contracts. We look at P-card transactions. We look at checks going out the door, revenue coming in. We look at your segregation of duties and how you're processing all those transactions. And we have a clean opinion there as well. This slide, if I was on council, especially maybe a newer council member, I want to know, do we have anything unusual or aggressive in your financial statements, maybe in your policies or your estimates, and you don't. They're all disclosed in the notes to your financial statements. They're very similar to many of your neighbors, and certainly a government of Fairburn size. And your only estimates are really your capital assets, which is a building or a vehicle. How long do we think those are going to be operational, or how long are we going to use them, and we depreciate those over those lives. And your actuary uses assumptions for your net pension liability. You're in a plan that many entities in the state of Georgia are in. They all have the same assumptions, and we kind of work with those actuaries, and we feel pretty good about them. This slide, we have a good relationship with management. It definitely is a big undertaking to do an audit. It's not just the auditors coming in. It puts a lot of work on the finance department and even the city manager's office. We have to get everyone involved. We get everything we need. Nothing seems hidden or covered up. We get all the information we need, so we appreciate the city working with us to get the audit done. It definitely takes a big effort from the city as well as the audit team. This slide, we are independent. We don't close the books. We don't post journal entries. We don't reconcile the bank accounts. We just come in and do the audit. So the clean opinion you had is not influenced by us, kind of closing the books and then turning around and auditing our own work. We just do the audit. These are the financial trends. This first one here is kind of your general fund. It's the blue color, and the orange color there is all your other governmental funds. The general fund's your main operating fund, and This is just kind of a trend of, where your fund balance has been and where it's gone. The general fund ticked down this year as we transferred some money to a capital project fund, and we just sort of put it over there, and that fund is going to use it to purchase capital assets in the future. So that's the main reason to tick down in the general fund. And the big yellow bucket is the bond money. We issued some bonds in 24, 25, and we haven't yet spent that money, at least as of September 30th, 2025. So that's why that one's way up there. We're holding a lot of money that we're going to spend in the future for the purpose of those bonds. This slide, this is probably the most important slide. This is your general fund, and it shows kind of your fund balance. Another word for fund balance is equity, and it's showing it as a percentage of your annual expenditures. It's kind of your liquidity. And the GFOA is the standard setting body for local government. They recommend 16 to 25%, which 2 to 3 months is kind of a minimum threshold. We don't want to see anybody go down below that. And so you can kind of see the trend here. We kind of went up, and some of those early years that was just budgeted. The council and management really was hovering over our finances, trying to build up fund balance. And then when we got into 20 to 23, a lot of that is COVID money. We got a lot of COVID money, and we were able to pay our operational costs and maybe even some of our capital costs with that money. That money's gone now, so it's sort of trending back down. That's kind of the norm of what I see in local governments. But we still have a healthy fund balance. We're well above the 16 to 25% threshold the GFOA sets. And this slide, this is your kind of your utility funds, the electric, water, and then you got a couple other funds there. There's some stormwater and sanitation, and this is normal is how I would put this. The electric funds generally do fairly well, and this is what I like to see. And stormwater and sanitation funds generally do good to break even, and you're actually creating a little bit of money in those funds, so healthy overall. And this is your electric fund, which is, since it's the main fund, we kind of showed this, and there was a rate increase a couple years ago when the expenses started to exceed the revenues. Inflation was a real thing, and payroll costs up, retention costs are up, and the cost of purchasing electricity from MEAG was up, and so we kind of increased our rates to try to get the blue at least level with the yellow or back up above it. So good to see there. And this, we do have one finding in the report this year. I kind of lumped it just into this one, segregation of duties and bank reconciliation review. And we kind of had some gap in our normal procedures. We had a lot of turnover this year in not only the finance director position, but just some key accountants. We lost a lot of institutional knowledge, and I think there was a few minor gaps there. We saw some journal entries that were posted, and it was just one person posting it and no one else reviewing it. And that's not a perfect world. We like to see, segregation of duties where the accountant might post the entry and then the finance director reviews it. So we saw, I think it's 24 of them there out of 25, and I can't really see that far anymore. But the bank rec was also kind of just sort of skimmed over. That's what it seemed like. We had to make an adjustment there, and I think the finance director was just kind of making sure it zeroed out. Wasn't really scrutinizing maybe these reconciling items or was something there that shouldn't be there. And so we just want to kind of maybe let's get back to segregating those duties and making sure we're reviewing the bank reconciliation. But on the flip side, we look at the journal entries. There was support for those entries. The entries that were posted agreed to the supporting documentation we had. So we don't think anything was done wrong, but it presents some level of risk when one employee is doing more than one part of a transaction. In this slide, the old outstanding checks, I know this has been here for a while. I believe currently this has been addressed on some level, which is good news, but the state of Georgia does have a kind of official code that if you have checks that are over 5 years old and we can't determine who those are due to, or we can't find those people, we should sheet that money or just turn it over to the state and let them deal with it. So there's a listing we have, and they total whatever that number is. I think it says 90,000. So we kind of recommend we continue to try to work to clean those up. And we look at P-card transactions, and we had a few, I wouldn't call them discrepancies, but we couldn't find receipts, or we saw a PayPal receipt, and the PayPal receipt didn't really have a lot of information in it for us as auditors. And so we would kind of recommend, it would make us feel a little bit better if there was a little more meat to those transactions other than just we spent $27 from PayPal. Maybe it was $27 for, whatever it was, so we can verify it's a city expense. So again, these are not findings, they're just things we came across that we recommend. And the last one is AP. We look at invoices and, there's some invoices that trickle in after the end of the year, and they're for services that happen through September 30th, 2025. And we found a couple of those that were posted in the wrong period. So this is not something I think council should be worried about. You didn't have an invoice that never got paid. It got paid when it came through the finance office. It just didn't get posted to the right period. And that hasn't been an issue in years past, and there was only one or two of them, so that's why I stuck it here instead of making it a finding. But we just want to make sure we're reviewing those and doing our cutoff when we prep for the audit to kind of get them in the right period. And we are a full-service CPA firm. We have a governmental advisory services group. I know I spoke about this before, but there's new council members here, and they do a lot of niche projects for local governments in these 4 buckets. They don't do audits. They're not CPAs. They are operational efficiency, strategy, and budget and performance measures experts. That's what they do. They kind of look at how we're operating. Why are we doing what we're doing? Why does this employee, I always say, why does she put the yellow sheet of paper in the white folder? And maybe that's a good thing to do, maybe it's not, and maybe one department has too many employees, maybe one doesn't have enough, and it's just, they look at a lot of, could be as small or as large in scope as you want, and it's ultimately to improve our efficiencies in our operations and ultimately deliver better services to the citizens of Fairburn. So that is something we offer outside of the scope of the audit. I'd be happy to tell you more about it and let you meet with the partners that head that group up. And GASB's always busy. GASB is the standard setting board for local government. They're the reason that everything's in your report. There's a couple new ones coming out, and they're not overly significant, but us and the finance team will get those implemented as they come along. And we do offer free CPE to all of our clients. The finance group has attended those in the past, but anybody at Fairburn is welcome to attend them. They're designed to train the clients on what's coming up in GASB and kind of make the audit go smoother and just train you. It is free CPE. They're virtual, so you don't have to drive anywhere to get them, and anybody at the city is welcome to attend. And we will continue to offer that forever, I believe, and that's all I have. And like I said, you have a healthy fund balance, and we had a couple management points in the one finding, but overall healthy fund balance, and we appreciate the city working with us to get the audit done. And if there's questions, I'm happy to answer them.
All right, members of council, you've received the presentation from our auditors for the fiscal year 25. For the fiscal year 25 budget. Questions? Mayor Pro Tem Smallwood.
All right. Well, thank you for presenting that. But I'm not one of the newer council members, and so I have heard the checks several times now. So what are we, because you stated that was maybe not current, so I'd just like to hear where we are currently and maybe what's stopping us from just getting those up out of our possession, because I think it's like the 3rd time we heard about that.
Thank you for your question, Mayor Pro Tem. So on October 29, 2025, we sent $65,885.99 to the state. And so that was from checks from April 23rd, 2007 to December 10th of 2019. And so we got a good chunk of those checks done. Of course, they want you to send ones that's over 5 years. And so because we've started this process, that's the one that will continue in the finance department.
Okay, so because that amount was like 90-something, so you said we got rid of like 6, so about 2/3 of that amount we got down.
Correct, $65,885.99.
Good stuff, good stuff. And I guess maybe, I think you spoke about it, so it's not really a bad thing to, but talk to me about, now you said in the report he was just glancing at the, I mean, maybe could you flesh that out a little bit more for me? What was going on?
So we found an error in the bank rec, and we made an adjustment, and we kind of sort of dig to find out, why did that happen? So we gave you some context, and that was kind of the result we got was, what are you doing with the bank rec? And it was, I just kind of look at it, and if it zeroes out, I'm good with it. And so our recommendation is that someone really, formally review it, look at the reconciling items and make sure they make sense and is something there that shouldn't be there or vice versa. And that's what's going on, and I feel like that is why we found the adjustment.
Okay.
So if I could provide a little bit of clarity for Mayor and Council, we have about 18 different bank accounts that have to be reconciled on a monthly basis. Typically, it's split where your senior accountant will reconcile the largest account, which is our pool account, which is where we do a lot of our transactions from. And our staff accountant will reconcile some of the smaller accounts. So what we've put in place since talking with Malden and Jenkins in this management letter is that the staff accountant, those accounts that individual reconciles, those are reviewed by the staff accountant, signed off on, initialed and dated. And then the reconciliations that the senior accountant does, those are signed off on and initialed by the director. And so that was not previously in place. So what they could not see was any type of, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, any type of initials or anything to show that that was actually reviewed, that what they entered was correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Other
Absolutely.
questions?
Yes.
Yes, Councilwoman Nichols?
Hi, Josh, thank you. I'm one of the newer councils, but not new to accounting, and some of the things you said are concerning, because even though your full report is fine, I'm looking at your comments and recommendations, and for me, that's concerning because these are simple checks and balances that we as a staff our staff should have in place, especially when you want to operate with fidelity and integrity to make sure that there are checks and balances. So my first thing is, I know you recommended that we have some type of process of how we are approving our checks and balances. I don't know if staff can remind me, what is our finance structure? Why is the finance director the only person, or whoever was approving that? That's my first question.
So the structure was not set up for the finance director to be the only person reviewing it. As Ms. Chris just explained, we have our staff accountant, our senior accountant, and the finance director. And so the structure was not adhered to, which is what led to the finding that you see in the
What's the team? Can you tell me it's like? can you just-
director.
Yep.
You have a senior accountant, you have a staff accountant, you have accounts receivable. What did I leave out, Ms. Chris? Procurement specialist.
Okay. Okay.
So this was, from what we reviewed, not a lack of structure, it was a lack of adherence to that structure. So we put in what Ms. Chris just explained to ensure that that is followed moving forward. This was not a finding in previous years. And so this has not been a issue that has been a concern beyond this particular instance, and we addressed it to ensure that there was adherence to the structure that was previously in place, so that this would not be an issue going forward.
Okay, thank you. So Josh, can you just give me high level, what would be your recommendation of just like a detail of what that process will look like, just from your background?
The fixing it process, or?
Yeah, so like what typically would you recommend be the structure of, for instance, this first one was around the balancing just being zero, so then just kind of checking it off and moving on? What would a formal structure look like?
I think that would just be to remind whoever's responsible for that.
Usually it's more than one person, right? Right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Depends on who's reviewing which account, which is the city's policy.
okay, well, thank you for that. I would love to see what our formal internal process looks like, just because this is very simple. Like, this is not even like, this is like, when you first create a department, you have your staff, you're gonna create structures and processes, then everything else follows that. So I'm worried that the foundation could be problematic. So I would just love to see what that looks like, just to make sure we are operating with integrity. That's all. Thank you.
No other question? Yes, Councilwoman Davis?
Excuse me. Yes, I concur with my two colleagues in reference to what they have referenced, and it is definitely a concern for me for this to be a finding. And what makes it even more of a concern is that, you know, your sample was 24 entries. No, your sample was 25 entries, and 24 was not correct. So that's a major, for me. I've been on council 9 years, I've never seen this before. So certainly we have administration, we have some things that we need to do. Tailor some things, check more regularly than what we do, and I know that you all do. And I know that you all are great in what you do. So I know there's got to be some special situation here. But the key for me is still here. It's still here. And I know it's a special situation, so I just gingerly ask you to get that special situation situated.
And Councilwoman Davis, the reconciliations, they were correct. It's just that they didn't have that second compliance sign off that's required. So I don't want to think they were wrong. They were correct. They just were not. They didn't have that second step of compliance sign off.
Yeah, but it disturbs me when the same employee created, posted, and approved.
Correct.
It's an issue.
It's an issue for city administration, so we put that new process in place immediately. So the person entering the journal entries and/or doing the bank reconciliation is not the final reviewer. It's a step process.
Okay. I'm not going to beat that. I think my colleagues have already talked about that, but I want to get on the Gatsby. Before I get on the Gatsby, I want to ask about the emphasis of matter that you all talked about on page 40 in reference to change in accounting principle.
Sure.
Can you explain that to me?
I can.
Yeah, and you said your opinions are not modified with respect to this matter, but you did emphasize that. So can you share what that?
So that opinion letter is kind of a template. We don't really have a lot of control over that.
Yeah, I know. I looked it up, and it
Yeah.
was word by word for somebody
Yeah.
else. So yeah.
But to your question, so GASB came out with a standard on compensated absences. And for those who are new, that's basically PTO in the past. And they thought it was a good idea to pick up sick leave, basically. We used to not book sick leave because we didn't pay it out if you terminated employment from the city. And GASB decided that on some level, sick leave was a significant number for some governments, you know, across the globe. And so they forced us to go and look at sick leave and pick up a liability for that. So that's what that emphasis of matter is. We actually restated beginning balances to go back and pick up that amount. So it's not an error, but we just implemented a new standard that was required. And our opinion letter kind of emphasizes that to a reader to say, oh, by the way, we implemented this GASB, and that's why there's a restatement.
Okay.
It's not an error correction, but it highlights it to a reader of the financial statements.
Okay. Last one. In reference to the Gatsby, I was not able to attend the special call meeting in reference to the year-end amendments and adjustments, but I did read the minutes. And the Gatsby 87, don't most Gatsbys give you an amount, maybe a year, to do whatever they come up with? It's not something that you have to do the same year. Usually, they say it is, it would be applied in year 2027. So what was the issue with having to do all those entries this year when Gatsby 87 came out in 2021? From my research, I could be wrong.
That would be a staff response.
Correct. So when the budget was formulated for FY 24-25, the funds for the lease of enterprise vehicles was all placed in other contracted services. And so it was not broken up into the budget appropriately by principal and interest. And so the point of that amendment was to make sure that we pulled it out of the other contracted services within the city administrator's budget, but moved it to the principal and interest to be in line with GASB 87.
Okay, so we only had that situation in 2025, not in 22, 23, 24, because,
I would have to check the management letter on the audit.
okay, all right, because I was just wondering why we were doing it this year instead of 2021. Okay, I appreciate you checking that out, Ms. Chris. I think that's all I have, Mayor.
Councilwoman Davis, we'll check that and get you a specific answer, but I don't recall that ever being noted in any of our previous audits since 2022.
Right, yeah,
And so we'll check and confirm that for you.
okay. Thank you.
Councilwoman Benson, a follow-up question to Councilwoman Davis's question regarding the GASB, the accounting for sick leave that you spoke about. When is that effective? And what years are we required to then account for?
So it's effective, it was effective, well, for Fairburn, it was effective, this year was the first year, but we have to retroactively go back and pick it up. So we,
Okay, when you say this year, are you meaning calendar year or our fiscal year?
for fiscal year,
Okay.
in June, or September 30th, 2025.
Okay, so fiscal year 25, 26. And then we have to go back and account for how many years?
Well, it's retroactive, so what we did was, we had to pretend like it was in your previous report, your September 2024 report. So we went back and looked at sick time reports at September 30th, 2024, and we picked up what those balances were and put them in to the report this year. And we effectively restated beginning balances to pick up that amount.
Okay,
And so going forward, it will just be a regular, whatever our sick time is at the end of the year, we're gonna book a liability for that like we did for PTO in the past. So we just kind of went back to the beginning of the year and picked up what it should have been. And pretended like that GASB existed at the beginning of our year.
okay. Well, thank you. Actually, I'm pleased that that is a requirement of ours because sick leave is a liability. We should account for it as a liability because at any point in time, we would have to pay out those dollars. So I'm glad to see that ruling, that it now exists. Okay, Councilwoman Benson?
Hi, as one of the newbies here, who is probably going to beat a dead horse a little more, regarding the 24 entries out of, is that me? Okay, so 24 out of the 25 entries that you mentioned. Normally, when you have so many, it typically causes you to dig a little deeper into the rest of the entries. So that was a sample pool. After that sample pool, did you dig further for, more information? I know that you said that you've discovered that steps and checks and balances were kind of skipped this time around. But were you certain that they were not skipped all the way through?
I can't say certain because, so we use sampling. We obviously don't look at all transactions, but the population that we picked from, we basically pull 2 journal entries from every month. And so we feel like that sample is reflective of the whole population. And so if we had looked at additional entries, I feel like we would have found similar results.
But in doing so, I guess my question is, are we sure that bigger mistakes weren't made? I don't know how to express it any further than, okay, we saw that everything balanced out, and it was just a matter of, signatures were not place. Sign-offs were not given. But can we be certain that something major wasn't missed within that?
I don't know about certain, but I'll go back to, kind of what we do. So when we look at the journal entries, our primary objective there is to look for fraud. We look to see that journal entries aren't being posted that don't have support. Fraud often happens in journal entries. But to answer your question about did something big get missed, I mean, we do a full-blown audit. I mean, we look at revenues coming in the door. We audit the balance sheet pretty heavily. We look at, checks. I mean, we look at a lot of things. So to answer your question, if I thought something big was missed, you wouldn't have the opinion that you had from us. So, I mean, we can't say absolutely because we don't look at every single transaction, but we do a host of work on the revenues coming in the door, the expenses going out the door, and, auditing cash and receivables and payables and capital assets and our debt liabilities and compensated absences. And, we look at the payroll. And we look at everything pretty much. We don't look at 100% of the transactions, but we do an extensive audit of all your general ledger balances.
Understood. For my next question, when you were talking about the monthly bank reconciliation that has not been happening, what was done before? I know that you're recommending that moving forward that there is a monthly bank reconciliation. What was the process before that? And has the city, and I guess this goes to you, Ms. Chris, and to you, Mr. Phillips, have you accepted that recommendation? And what is the move going forward, if you have, to ensure that that monthly bank reconciliation happens?
So the monthly bank reconciliations were completed. The compliance issue is that the same person that was completing the bank reconciliations, there was not sign off by a second person on those, about it's based on a sample. So every month, bank reconciliations are completed for those 18-plus accounts.
Okay.
And so now we're confident in the process that the checks and balances are there, so that any journal entries and/or bank reconciliations completed by the staff accountant are reviewed by the senior accountant, and everything completed by the senior accountant is reviewed by the director.
Okay, but it does not continue? I mean, I'm a little concerned that we have like one level of review in place, but what?
I'm sorry. So you have to keep a separation in duties. You can't have multiple employees in the department review them. So for instance, the employee that cuts the check doesn't have access to the bank accounts and can't review those bank reconciliations. The accounts that the senior accountant, the staff accountant has access to are not accounts that the senior accountant is working in. So we keep them separated, and so when they're essentially looking at it, that's them looking at it for the first time. So we have to keep a separation of duties, because you do have AP specialists, we have employees that receive the money, and so they're putting it in code, they're applying it to the correct account. We don't want them then in turn looking at the bank reconciliations. We're just trying to make sure that we keep it separated.
No, and that part I understand, but after one checks the other, is there another tier that doesn't touch it that could check both?
So for context, we have 8 employees in finance.
Okay.
As Ms. Chris just explained, they're all segmented to specific tasks. And so there's limited bandwidth when you say, is there someone else? So
Okay.
staff accountant is checked by the senior accountant. The senior accountant is checked by the director. And so that's kind of,
To answer your question, that I thought about it, there is an opportunity based on the volume of revenue that comes into the city. Potentially, this department has grown to the point where there needs to be kind of a manager in between the staff accountants underneath the director, so that you phase it up where you have the staff accountant who's checked by the senior accountant who's checked by the manager, where everything is checked by the director.
Here we go.
And
That's
so
what
that
I'm
will be a much cleaner process to answer your question, if that's the direction in which you're going.
Okay. Very
that
good.
would be something we'd have to entertain in the upcoming budget process, when we would come to you with proposals about what that staffing, that position Ms. Chris mentioned would be a good solution. It doesn't exist today.
Understood.
So it's not in the current budget, so we'd have to bring that forward in the proposed budget for FY '27 for your consideration.
Understood. And then my last question pertains to the review of invoices at, once the fiscal year ends. Since invoices still come in after September 30th, for example, you've paid for something in the month of September. We all know how vendors work. Sometimes you will not see that invoice for a month, 2 months, 3 months, what have you. There is the recommendation after that fiscal year end to review it. How long does that go out? And what is the process? Like what ensures that as an invoice comes in late, you're already following some sort of standard operational procedure to say, okay, this was for fiscal year '25. We now need to make sure that it hits this line item, that this is amended and goes before council for that, final review, depending on the size.
So there's several things with the invoices. So our fiscal year starts October 1st. On that date, we have to load the new fiscal year budget. However, when you have staff entering invoices to reconcile them, to process them for payables, they have to make sure that they check either fiscal year, for instance, now fiscal year '26 or fiscal year '25.
Okay.
Human error, sometimes that's not always checked. It may be overlooked and placed in the wrong one. The other issue we kind of talked through is just because an invoice is dated for, let's just say, September 30th, does not necessarily mean that it's paid in that fiscal year, because they look at, and Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, when the services were rendered. So a perfect example would be our Fall Festival. We may get that invoice from a vendor September 15th, but because the Fall Festival happens the first Saturday of the fiscal year in October, that technically has to be paid out in the new fiscal year, because that's the date the services are rendered. So oftentimes you will kind of see that during the transition. I will tell you, closing a fiscal year and opening a new fiscal year is very hectic for finance, because of course we set the deadline well in advance, but we also have vendors that have to be paid, and sometimes there's a delay in receiving those invoices. So we try to close the books 30 days after the fiscal year ends. That way we give time for invoices to trickle in to be processed in the system.
Thank you.
Staff typically will receive every year near the end of the fiscal year, the last 30 days, a memo directing them for the end-of-year process that has all the key dates that Ms. Chris just mentioned, to ensure that everybody understands what that 30-day window is and what those deadlines are.
Thank you both.
Follow-up question, Josh. Could you explain statistical sampling and why you, when you're doing an audit, choose to do X number of reviews versus 100% reviews?
Sure. Well, the main answer to that question is a cost structure. It would cost 7 times the amount of money y'all pay for an audit if we looked at everything. But we use a methodology, an audit methodology, and we follow that, and we go through a risk assessment, and we place a risk assessment on Fairburn as a local government, and we have higher samples in what we consider more risky areas, and we have a lower sample in a much lower risk area. So we use that, and the sampling is ideally, if we get a full population and we sample from that, it's reflective of our entire year, and so that's our methodology that we use, and Ms. Benson kind of hinted to that, sometimes if you find errors, you expand your sample. That is a very standard sampling methodology, but we don't generally expand our sample. Like if I had found 2 problems out of 25, we would have looked at more transactions. But since we found 24 out of 25, we presume that if we looked at more transactions, we would have had a similar error rate. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'll say one more thing. So not just from the new council members, but there's a lot of questions about policies and structure and organization and why did these comments happen and they never happened before. And maybe finance needs the manager that Tony and Ms. Chris are talking about. And the advisory group that I mentioned, this is exactly what they do. They will tell you, absolutely, you need that position, and here's why. Or maybe you don't need it, because maybe you've got somebody else in the office that could fulfill that role. I mean, that is 100% what they do. It's operational. It's how are we operating? Why is everybody doing what they're doing? I mean, and they start with anonymous surveys of, do you understand your job as an employee? Yes or no? And if no, why? Maybe you didn't get the right training. Maybe you don't know how to use the software that Fairburn's invested in. They dig into everything that every employee is doing on a daily basis. And they come up with quick wins. How does it align with our own internal policies? They look at your policies and procedures, and maybe they need updating. Maybe they don't. But maybe our employees are following them, following some of them, not following all of them. And if they're not, why? And how do we get there? You don't just get from them, here's everything you're doing wrong. They tell you things you're doing well. What are you not doing great compared to your own policies, maybe some industry standards and best practices, and then how do we get there? They don't just leave you in a rut and say, hey, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it's not working, good luck fixing it. They help you get there. So, I mean, that's what they do. All the questions are just totally geared to what they do and why did all this happen and how do we prevent it from going forward and how do we operate more efficiently.
Okay, Councilman Perry?
Hey, Josh, how you doing, staff as well? So I think we had about a $2 million difference between operating costs and expenses for the
Budget
general.
standpoint?
I believe it was I believe it was
Put
$2
that
million
graph,
for this
hold
audit
on, let
period.
me put the graph back on.
The graph, though.
Yeah, the graph that was in the audit report, is that what you're talking about?
Enterprise fund?
Enterprise fund.
Enterprise fund.
That was electricity in the enterprise fund.
Correct.
Okay, now you proceed.
Yes, for 2025, well,
This one?
yes, this one for the electric. So this is like a hot button topic for our residents here in Fairburn. So everybody's, not say complaining, but everybody expresses their frustration with the increase in utility rates that we have. So right now, per this slide, we're looking at 12 million for operating expenses, operating revenue, that's that money that comes in. And we're looking at a deficit of $2 million that we're operating out. How are we, as an audit, doing this?
That is a direct function of the rate structure that we have. You recall at your recent retreat, ECG was there. About a month prior to that, they came here to the city council. And what they shared with, in both of those forums, is that the rate structure we currently have was based on estimates generated by MEAG in 2023, when those rates were passed in December. What they also shared at those meetings was that all of those estimates have changed since 2023 and are now higher. That accounts for what you see on this particular slide. So our rates are based on prior assumptions and not current assumptions. The typical way you address that is you have to address your rate structure, because essentially we're paying more for electricity than we're charging. And so the way to address that, there's no other fund. Enterprise funds are self-supporting. So we don't take out of the general fund to make up that difference. We can't pull money from some other fund to do that. It's a function of what we pay for electricity and what we charge for electricity. And the primary way to address that is your rate structure.
So the city basically is operating at a deficit.
The enterprise fund. So
well,
the
excuse me.
enterprise fund is separate from general fund. Your general fund is all your property tax dollars that pays for all of your operating expenses for police and fire and parks and recreation. This is the enterprise fund. This is your utility fund, water, sewer, electricity. The way that fund operates is the rates that we charge are supposed to cover the expenses we incur. It's like a business. And so it's as if you were.
It is a business.
It is a business. It's as if you're running a hamburger restaurant. It costs you $5 to make the hamburger, but you're charging $4 to people who buy it. That's going to create a deficit. And so that's essentially what's happened in the enterprise fund. It happened in the enterprise fund in 2023 when we adjusted the rates for the first time, I believe, in over 12 years, when we adjusted the rates in 2023. And it was based on the projections at that time provided by ECG and MEAG looking at power cost over the next several years. But again, as they shared with us recently, escalating economy, escalating cost, all of those assumptions. Now, we built into the rate structure escalators each year. I think it's 3% in water, 3% in the electric fund in the initial year, and I have to go back and look at what those escalators are in anticipation of cost increases. The challenge has been, is because of an inflationary economy, the cost for power has exceeded even what ECG and MEAC predicted. And so energy costs more today than it did. And so the way we would adjust that is we would have to at some point look at the rate structure.
All right, as been stated, we have 4 new council members. So is there a way, as we get ready to go into, I guess, the budgetary session, for us to get a copy of the previous 2 audits?
Oh, absolutely. They're all on the website. All of our audits for the last probably 12 years are all posted. For any citizen, any elected official, they're all on the website.
Okay, so for transparency, all of that information is already posted out there.
Yes,
Outstanding.
publicly posted.
Outstanding.
To include the current one, and
one
all the
that-
previous years as
The
well.
one that we're going over now.
Yes,
Say who?
that one's posted, and all of the previous years are posted as well, under the Finance Department. Goes all the way back to, currently back to 2009.
My last one is the purchase car program. I think it was 25 transactions that did not have documentation, yet they were approved.
No, I think you're confusing the 2 issues. Yeah, one was journal entries. Could you pull up the P-card?
Just moved it.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Okay,
Transactions.
We had 2.
just 2. 2 lack documented.
Okay, out of the 25 that you pulled, only 2 of them didn't have documentation.
No, vice versa.
No.
All but 2
All but 2.
had support.
Okay. All right, that was it for me.
Just for clarity, Councilman Perry, one of the ones that they looked at was a PayPal transaction, which is for one of the vendors, I believe, for either, it was like a Third Friday concert or one of our city events. Of course, you know, we do a lot of business with small businesses. A lot of them will send invoices via PayPal for the city to pay. And so they're not as detailed or itemized that they want, where it's the service date, the quantity, or itemized out. And so there was a receipt, but it wasn't as detailed. And we were able to find the corresponding information later on. And so we've just made it where we don't pay any vendors via PayPal. If we want to continue to do business, we will either do ACH or a check for those vendors.
All right, thank you.
Yes, please. Councilwoman Nichols?
Yes, something that just came up as I was thinking through this process. I don't see any of like our finance personnel or the director, but have we been able to talk to them about his team structure? Because I just don't understand at like at a director level, certain things you should advocate for a team if you know you need a second person in command, or is that team too admin heavy? Because I know you said we don't have a manager, but it seems like we have, most of the employees are at the admin level, so that may need to switch, but I don't know if we were able to talk to him about his perspective.
We have ongoing dialogues about the structure
Okay.
in finance. There are no administrative positions in finance. They're all transactional. So you have
Okay.
staff accountants, senior accountants, accounts payable, accounts receivable, procurement. So there are no administrative functions. They're all literally what I would refer to as transactional finance positions.
No approval.
Well, there's a
privilege.
approval. Well, our recommendation, which you will see coming forth in the 2027 budget, is we do believe because the city has grown, there is now an opportunity. And by the way, we've added several positions in finance over the last several years. I think initially there was no procurement manager. All of that was being done in finance. There was no procurement specialist. We didn't have a senior accountant.
Yeah,
So we
none of
built
that.
finance over the last several years by adding proposed positions in the budget. I think when I got here initially, there may have been 4 people in finance, and today, 5. Today, there's 8.
Yeah.
So we recognized that in previous budgets and added resources as our fiscal platform allows us to, and with council approval. We're at a juncture where it's probably likely a good time to add yet another position to what we've built out over the last several years. And so, yes, there's an ongoing dialogue, and what you will see through the budget process is all of the departmental budgets originate from the department directors and staff. They tell us what they need. So we let them propose because they're the subject matter expert. So they have the autonomy to say, I need 2 people to do this, I need 3 people to do that. And so that all originates in the user departments. Now, will the budget support that? That's what we come to mayor and council and have an extended conversation about. How many positions can we budget for? But yes, we start that process at the department operational level because they should know best if I need a manager, if I need another accounts payable person. And so that provides the opportunity for the very dialogue you just referenced.
But also, I don't know if addition is the answer because we have 8 people and this small mistake was made. So I think maybe we reevaluate whether people need to be promoted or where roles need to change to support the structure that is needed, because 8 people still is a good amount, and I don't know if an addition is actually solving the problem. So I think we should take a look to see how what their roles and responsibilities are and what is the need, because there's no point to create something that we don't need, and if we already have talent there, people can evolve. So I finance, this is my background, and I just want to make sure like this is our foundation and that we are operating with the integrity that our city is known for, because this is really, when people look at our audit, this can affect potential investments, or how people look at us, how our ratings are. These are small mistakes that can affect the bigger picture. So I don't know if an addition is the answer, rather just reevaluating everyone's role, what the need is, what are the gaps, and how does that work. I do think we need a manager in between, so that can support the director, but I don't know if that's a promotion or a change in role scope, but I think we should just look at what we have.
So I will add that there has been one position that we're still trying to fill, which is a staff accountant position. And so when you say 8, I don't want it to appear that all 8 are full, because that one has been vacant, I believe, since maybe September or October. That's 1. 2, when you break down the 8 employees within finance, you have 1 procurement manager, you have 1 procurement specialist. They do nothing with finance. And so they're handling our contracts, our bids. The specialist is kind of helping us with our invoicing because, as Mr. Phillips said, they don't have an admin that processes invoices within finance. Then you have your senior accountant that kind of oversees AP, but manages our main account, which is that pool account, which is our largest, as well as does journal entries for that account. Then you also have a staff accountant that reconciles some of the other accounts, but also is our tax expert and is the person responsible for ensuring all of the tax bills go out by that deadline. Then you have another accounting specialist within the department.
Who's collecting the property taxes?
So when residents come in to pay their property taxes, typically that individual or our accounting specialist have to come downstairs to the window to collect that payment. We have an accounting specialist that does all of the business licenses, which have grown tremendously over the years throughout the city, in addition to doing accounts payable. So I will say, once that position is filled, that will help spread some of those duties. But based on the growth and the amount of revenue that they touch, the manager is needed, but we also need someone that strictly handles cash. The volume of checks that come through the city on a daily basis, you'll be surprised with. And so we have done promotions inside. Within the department, we've had employees graduate with a bachelor's degrees in accounting, and so we're sending them to training. So I don't want you to think that there's a skill gap or some sort of finance. We do have the team in place. It's a matter of making sure that the process flows for compliance purposes, and because we've grown from where we were, we're spreading out those duties, because business license, while the window to renew is January to March, but not everybody renews by March. So a lot of that is working in conjunction with code enforcement to go after those businesses that haven't renewed to ensure that they get into compliance. So that's a year-round responsibility.
And we do not have 100% property tax payment either.
Correct.
And that's an area that's needed as well.
And in addition to that, when you talk about property taxes, yes, we send those bills out in October, but as you know, April 1st is the deadline for homestead exemption. And so we have to keep track of all of that information, plus work with Fulton County because they have to issue our tax digest, which we're waiting to get now for the upcoming fiscal year. And so it's a lot of moving parts, and those roles are year-round. And so I would say that our finance team is doing an amazing job with the multiple hats they have to wear. And so council supported that manager and an AP specialist list would be greatly appreciated.
In addition, what I would add is almost verbatim, Councilwoman Nichols, the process you described of evaluating before adding positions is literally what we do in every budget. If a position is proposed and it gets before you and your colleagues, you can rest assured it has been thoroughly vetted through that entire process. We have promoted individuals, we've changed job descriptions. Our budget does not have the wherewithal for us to randomly just propose new positions. We just don't have that ability. I don't know many cities that do, but we certainly don't have that in Fairburn. So it is fully vetted, which is why the process I referenced earlier of starting organically in the department, let them tell us what they need, and then that gets scrutinized significantly. We generally meet anywhere from 2 to 4 hours with each department, going line by line, position by position, over every request, every budget reference, every budget line. What did you spend last year? What are you proposing to spend this year? Why do you need that position? It's a very tedious process, but one that's absolutely essential so that by the time we submit a proposed budget to you, you know that that due diligence has been performed. Now, doesn't mean it's going to get approved, but that's what goes into building a proposed budget, is ensuring that we've done all of that vetting ahead of time. We manage in a continuous improvement process. There will always be areas where we need to be better, and we recognize that, and we make the decisions and the changes and the updates and the transformations needed to achieve getting those things to operate better. There are things in this budget that we've addressed already, and things I'm not at liberty to discuss at this juncture. I will tell you that we take this with the utmost seriousness. The last 6 consecutive years, we have gotten GFOA's Certificate of Achievement and Excellence for financial reporting. We take that seriously. We've gotten it 6 years in a row. It's my intention that we get it 7 years in a row. Is it perfect? By no stretch. Are these issues serious? They absolutely are. Are they being addressed? Without question.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have 3 minutes before 7, but Josh, before you leave, I'd ask you to restate what you were saying about the manager position as we were having that discussion. You don't recall what you were saying about that?
What did I say?
He was referencing the service that they offer.
They offer.
Adjunct service they offer
Training.
to assess.
I can reiterate that. Yeah, I mean, all the questions are policy and org structure and positions, and why did all these issues come up? And the advisory group that was on the slide that I mentioned, it is exactly what they do. They come in and they look at, it doesn't have to be every department, it could just be the finance department, but they do citywide scopes or department-wide scopes. It could be as big or a small scope as you want, but that's exactly what they do. They look at how is employee A, B, C, D, E, F, G in that department operating, and why are they doing what they're doing, and how does it align with our own internal policies, our comprehensive plan, best practices, and you know, maybe you need that position, and maybe you don't have enough employees for the volume of transactions like Ms. Chris said, or maybe you do, and maybe those employees are just not doing the most efficient process. Or maybe you have an employee in another department that doesn't need to be there, and they could come over and fulfill a role in this. So maybe you don't need a new person. Maybe you just need to shift things around, and that's what they do. And they look at, if you meet with them, you'll be impressed, I promise you. They know a lot more than I do about what they do, and but every client we've had that has used them has been blown away by the results that they get. Everybody has like, oh, we're going to pay money and they're just going to tell us what we already know, but we don't have the budget or the people to get there. And I haven't seen that be the case with anybody that's utilized them. Okay. It is not a waste of resources, and it doesn't have to be a citywide scope. It could be just the finance or just the police department or whatever. But I would encourage the council to at least entertain hearing from that group from the firm. And they can answer questions, tell you what they did for your neighbors down the road, or this client here or there, they did a very specific project. I have one client, they did nothing but cash receipting. They looked at everywhere cash was receipted in the city. And they got a report of this group's doing it well, this one's not, you know, and so it could be something as small in scope as that, or it could be a full-blown, every department in the city. So, but I would encourage you to at least, I mean, you could come to a meeting, or they could meet with Tony over Zoom, and we could go that route, you know, just to introduce them to you.
All right, thank you so much. And I will say, in this day and age of electronic banking, we still process a lot of paper checks, which in itself is a massive undertaking in this day and age. So there's a lot of improvement that we need to make, but all of that costs money. So we have to balance those things. But again, Josh, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, Josh, Carol of Malding and Jenkins, who presented our fiscal year 24-25 audit report. And I will close by saying, yes, we did receive some findings, but overall, we got a good grade for our finances. So always continuous improvement. Again, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it is 7:01. Sorry. Okay, I felt like a first grade teacher up here. Okay. All right, so with council permission, may we have 5 minutes before we start 7 o'clock for bio break reasons? So moved. Is that permissible? Thank you so much. We will start at 7:05. Okay, you got 5 minutes.
What I'm saying is, honestly, because usually it's some rattling going on. Come back.
All right, good evening. It is now 7:05, and we call to order the meeting of the Fairburn City Council. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
The Honorable Anatavia M. Benson.
Present.
The Honorable Linda J. Davis.
Present.
The Honorable Fannie Mae Hauser is absent. The Honorable Shanita Nichols.
Present.
The Honorable Samuel Perry.
Present.
And the Honorable Mayor Pro Tem Ulysses J. Smallwood.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item, please.
It's going to be the invocation by Pastor Evan Hill of First Baptist Church.
May we all stand, please?
Let's pray. Lord God, we are here in your presence, knowing that there is a great responsibility in front of all of us to do your will and your will first and foremost. Lord, tonight for our city council, for those that are in attendance, Lord, we ask that, like David, we would say that the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts would be pleasing and acceptable in your sight, God. We know governing is not easy. No matter what decisions made, there will be people that are in opposition. We pray, Father, for your hand of wisdom and your hand of protection for all that are involved in carrying this city forward. Lord, may we honor you in all things. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Mayor Pro Tem Smallwood, would you please read the civility pledge?
Sure. The way we govern ourselves is often as important as the positions we take. Our collective decisions will be better when differing views have had the opportunity to be fully vetted and considered. All people have the right to be treated with respect, courtesy, and openness. We value all input. We commit to conduct ourselves at all times with civility and courtesy to each other.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item.
The next item is presentations and proclamations. Proclamation honoring Lieutenant Mark Anthony Smith.
Give us just one moment for setup, please, and then I'd ask council to join me on the floor. I'd also ask if our police department would join us up front. Mayor Pro Tem. Over a week ago, myself and the entire Fairburn Police Department, along with the parents, children, and siblings of Lieutenant Mark Anthony Smith, celebrated his homegoing. What a remarkable man that I learned he was. I can't begin to describe the moments, the laughter, the crying, the moments of silence, the camaraderie, and the amount of love that was in the room. As I shared with many, I served on council for 12 years. And this is the second time that I've experienced this. And it is heart-wrenching, just heart-wrenching. But I wanted to take this moment to honor one of our own with my colleagues and his colleagues that are standing here behind me. This proclamation honoring the life and service of Lieutenant Mark Anthony Smith. Whereas the city of Fairburn joins the family, friends, and colleagues and loved ones of Lieutenant Mark Anthony Smith in mourning his passing and honoring a life marked by service, dedication, leadership, and love for others. And whereas Lieutenant Smith served the city of Fairburn Police Department with professionalism, commitment, and a sincere dedication to protecting and serving the residents, businesses, and visitors of our community. And whereas throughout his law enforcement career, Lieutenant Smith earned a reputation as an effective trainer, problem solver, and dependable public servant who completed the job with excellence, integrity, and care. And whereas Lieutenant Smith's commitment to service extended beyond the city of Fairburn, having previously served his country and community through military service and law enforcement roles, including service as a deputy sheriff. And whereas those who knew Lieutenant Smith, we remember him not only for his technical expertise and leadership, but also for his caring spirit, radiant smile, memorable personality, and willingness to share his knowledge with others. Whereas Lieutenant Smith had a deep love for his family, his children, his co-workers, and his community, and his impact will continue to be felt by those who were blessed to know and serve alongside him. And whereas the city of Fairburn recognizes Lieutenant Smith's many contributions to public safety, and we honor the legacy of service, mentorship, compassion, and commitment he leaves behind. And whereas on Thursday, May 28, 2026, Lieutenant Mark Anthony Smith was posthumously promoted to the rank of lieutenant, a meaningful recognition of his leadership, dedication, and lasting contributions to the Fairburn Police Department and the community he served. And whereas Lieutenant Smith's life and service stands as a meaningful example of dedication, strength, and devotion to others, and the city of Fairburn is grateful for the mark he made in the Fairburn Police Department and the broader community. Now, therefore, I, Hattie Portis Jones, Mayor of the City of Fairburn, Georgia, on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of Fairburn, do hereby honor and remember Lieutenant Mark Anthony Smith and extend our heartfelt condolences to his family, friends, fellow officers, and all who mourn his loss. It further proclaimed that I, Hattie Portis Jones, Mayor of the City of Fairburn, Georgia, along with Mayor Pro Tem Ulysses J. Smallwood, council members Anatabia M. Benson, Linda J. Davis, Fannie Mae Hauser, Shanita Nichols, and Samuel Perry hereby express our sincere gratitude for Lieutenant Smith's service, leadership, and devotion to others, and encourages all citizens to join us in honoring his life, his legacy, and his contributions to our community. It is witness whereof I have hereto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Fairburn, Georgia, to be affixed this 8th day of June, 2026. It's a solemn moment, but it deserves a round of applause for a life well lived and the contributions made to our community on behalf of us, Fairburnites, on behalf of us. Please, let's celebrate. Thank you so much. This proclamation will be mailed to his parents, and they will also have an opportunity to view this presentation online. Again, thank you. And thank you, colleagues. And thank you, fellow officers. Thank you. I'm sorry. Okay. Madam Clerk, next item.
Next item, Mayor, is adoption of the city council agenda.
Members of council, you've received the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Mayor, I have,
Yes, let's bring it to the floor.
oh, you're going to bring it?
Yeah, don't bring it to the floor.
Okay.
Yes.
Mayor, we need to add the oath of the office for Councilmember Samuel Perry.
Wait, I need to bring it to the floor and then we'll amend. Okay, so do I have approval to bring it to the floor?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, amendments? Yes,
Yes,
Councilman
Mayor.
Davis,
I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to include an executive session for personnel.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am. We need to add to the agenda the oath of office for Councilmember Samuel Perry.
Okay, it has been requested to add agenda item for the oath of office for Councilman Perry. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there, yeah, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all right, so the agenda has been amended. The oath of office will be now number 4 under the regular agenda.
Okay, so we made a motion to both the executive session and,
And the oath of office, yes. So the oath of office will be number 4, and all numbers will advance accordingly. And then we motioned and approved executive session, which we will call.
And who made the second?
Who made the motion? I did. Executive session?
Who made the second? Okay.
Councilwoman Nichols. All right, anything else?
That's it, Mayor.
Okay, all right. May I have an emotion to accept the amended agenda as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. All right. Next item, Madam Clerk.
The next item is public comments. Mayor, we have 4 speakers.
All right, public comment period will be 30 minutes, and each speaker shall be limited to 3 minutes. However, a speaker may transfer his or her 3 minutes to another speaker, but no speaker shall be permitted to speak more than 6 minutes. That's only in the event of 10 speakers, so we do not have that, and so that is a moot point. Issues we raised at this time are generally referred to the city administrator for review. Responses will be provided later. Okay, Madam Clerk, first speaker.
Mr. Ernie Brooks.
Evening, everyone. It's good to see you tonight.
Good evening.
Evening.
I want to compliment you on the flags on 29 by the campus. I like that. It's beautiful. Second, I want to tell you I appreciate the city taking the initiative to go ahead and get the campaign signs up that, you know, it's a pattern. After the election, then I don't know what it is. People forget where they put their signs. Thank you for taking the initiative. I'd like to bring up, I know there was a special call meeting, and you did post online the financial report. I'm not an accountant or anything, but something that stuck out to me was the T-SPLOS tax, 13,751,484 was raised, and in the description of what that money is to be used for is to replace traffic control devices. And as you know, not only myself, but a lot of people have been complaining about State Route 92 and 29 right there at the bridge. It only allows 4 cars to go by. This is a quality of life issue, because if we can get that and get the flow of traffic going, I just want to say that that needs to take priority before the public service issue with DOT, egress, and also the development over on 138. We need to take priority and get that handled before we move on and let them jump to the head of the line. Second, I want to put you on notice that CSX, North Fork Southern, and Union Pacific are trying to combine. It's a big deal. They want to have a transcontinental railroad. And CSX over here in Fairburn wants to extend on 40 acres, 4 to 6 tracks. I think that's an opportunity for concessions. I think the city ought to negotiate with that company to pick up these railroad ties, get these big piles of gravel, pick up the scraps along the right-of-way and put them on their property, hide them, or either recycle them. And Union City, Fairburn, and Palmetto. Palmetto's doing a survey with their citizens to see if they want to get rid of the train horn and go to the ding, ding, ding bell at night so it doesn't ring. So also, I'm just curious, what's the city going to do with the bank? You spent $500,000 to clean up asbestos, and there's lead paint. There's lead paint. What is the intention of the bank for the city, and also the dump? Looks like the dump's full to me. That looks like a really large revenue source. I have not seen that anywhere. How much money has the dump generated through the years? Just curious. And last, if I could, I would like to get a copy of the LCI Gateway, the comp plan, and the strategic plan. As the gentleman said, don't let it sit up and gather dust. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
The next speaker is Eric Wallace.
Good afternoon, Mayor,
Good afternoon.
council members,
Good afternoon.
residents, and visitors. My name is Eric Wallace. I'm a resident of Durham Lakes here in Fairburn. A few things I want to usher off to you all. I'm going to get through some of them quickly and get to the main one. The lack of grocers in the city is something that a lot of residents have been concerned about for a while, for obvious reasons. One of the reasons that may not be so obvious to many is we want sit-down restaurants, nice eateries in the city, so we don't have to go out and spend our revenue in other cities like we currently do. So I would hope that it's something that's in focus for the city to think about as far as bringing a quality grocer to the city, because restaurants also look at those things as well when they're establishing their businesses or planning to promote those inside the city. Also, any plans of the newer commercial spaces that are being developed and existing in the city of Fairburn, we would kind of like to know where you all's heads are as far as that's concerned. Landfill expansion, as the gentleman right here just spoke about, we're also concerned about that. I know they keep coming back about expanding that landfill. It's a definite no for most of the residents here in the city, so I would like to keep our foot down on that moving forward. As far as the funeral home that just burnt down not too long ago, and formerly known as Clifton's, the restaurant establishment, what are the plans, or does the city have any plans for the usage, cleanup, and establishment of new businesses and things of that nature for those properties as well? Something that was just brought to my attention as well is the data center that is being proposed to be built. I'm new on this topic right now. I just heard about it, but I'm very concerned because we've all heard the horror stories about data centers around different cities around the country. We're not interested in that here in Fairburn. I'm a user of AI myself. The jury is still out on how beneficial it's gonna be to society moving forward in the future, but there are a lot of questions when it comes to these data centers and the type of energy. We just spoke for a while about utilities, the rising costs of utilities in the city. This is something that's been noted around the country. I do not want the perils of high water bills, high electricity bills, which unbeknownst to me, we may already be incurring some of that, but I don't want to participate in bringing that here to the citizens of Fairburn. So if it's something we can do about it to push back at least or hold off to get more information about that, I hope that you all would address that. And also, I know it's on the line of Palmetto and Fairburn, so clarification on that as well would be nice. So thank y'all for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
I'm going to try to pronounce this. Panache Magadza?
Are you here?
They were just signing.
Oh, okay, all right. That happens, that happens.
Yeah.
Okay, next speaker.
The last speaker is Sean Rust.
Sean, did you do the same thing? All right, that concludes the speakers. One point of clarification, we approved going into executive session, but we did not state a reason. We're required to do. You did say that? Oh, okay, all right, good, thank you.
But Mayor, we do have a real estate on top of the personnel.
Okay, so for real estate and personnel. Okay, thank you. All right, next item.
The next item is going to be approval of the minutes for the council meeting, work session minutes of May the 11th, council meeting minutes of May the 11th, and special called meeting minutes of May the 21st.
All right, are there any issues with any of the minutes? If not, we can approve them together?
Yes.
Okay, are there any issues with any of the minutes?
I will abstain.
Okay,
I wasn't present at
Okay.
the special meeting.
all right, so, all right, I don't call for separate then. May I have a motion for approval of the council meeting minutes of May 11th, 2026?
So move.
Your second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? May I have a motion for special call meeting of minutes of May 21st, 2026? Is there a motion? Is there a motion for the,
So move.
is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
And I abstain as well, too. I wasn't here.
Okay. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 approvals and 2 abstentions and 1 absent. It meets our quorum requirements, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, next item.
Well, we need to approve the work session minutes of May the 11th.
I did, that was the first
You need
one.
the council meeting.
Oh, okay, sorry. All right, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the work session of May 11th, 2026?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposition? Okay, thank you. All right, next item.
The next item, Mayor, is adult daycare text amendment and the public hearing. The recommendation is that mayor and council approve the text amendment regarding the adult daycare facilities, planning and zoning.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The item before you is the adult daycare facility with the revisions requested by council. If you recall, the adult daycare facility is defined in our zoning ordinance under definitions, but did not have designated areas in terms of actual zoning districts. So we reviewed the initial draft, and some of the feedback from council and members of the public had been incorporated into the revised updates. Okay. So the adult daycare facility, the key provisions that were include increasing the minimum separation distance.
Hold on 1 second. What do we have on the screen, Mike? Okay, can you hold on 1 second, please?
It's gonna go old school,
I
it's
say,
okay.
it's
You gotta be prepared for
we have
both.
some land somewhere we don't know about, all this water. I got great
Always
ideas
print
about
a
that.
copy of your presentation.
Okay, yes, yeah. Okay. All right. Yes, okay, proceed.
Gotcha. I do believe that's still the old presentation on there, so I'll go through line by line of all the changes.
Okay.
The major revisions include increasing the minimum separation distance for adult daycare facilities from 500 feet to 1,000 feet, establishing a minimum facility size, maximum occupancy standards, requiring enhanced buffering, parking, and traffic circulation controls, adding detailed outdoor recreational area and fencing requirement designed to improve participation, safety, and supervision, requiring a operational planning and safety procedure, and clarifying the state licensing and compliance document requirements while also protecting confidential information, strengthening the residential compatibility standards for facilities located within residential districts, and expanding the public notification and community meeting requirement for public hearings. One of the requests initially was just to make sure that, because this is something extremely new to Fairburn, we don't have any adult daycare facilities. We have facilities for long-term care, but not necessarily for adult daycare facilities where you take someone, they're supervised, and you come pick them up at the end of the day, similar to daycare services for children. We added the hours of operations are Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Outdoor activities would be limited to 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Activities had to be scheduled, maintained with adequate supervision. There was a request to make sure that the state licenses and compliance information was included. So we have the provision about making sure that it complies with state regulation, but also including the application timeline, due date, and providing a summary of what will be submitted to the state. So we have that, but also keeping in mind that some of that information is confidential. So anything that is confidential, they would not have to disclose that, but they would have to provide a timeline. A safety and security plan that, of course, would be reviewed by both the fire marshal and public safety to ensure that things like entrance and exits are monitored, ensuring that there is a comprehensive operational plan, looking at things like medical, fire, severe weather, active threats, utility failure, wandering participants, and having all of that as a part of the packet that's submitted before a decision is made. And then there's the provision regarding noise and activities because there are instances where residential may be in close proximity, wanted to make sure that there were some provisions that said you had to minimize both outdoor activity and noise. One of the requests was for the increase in community meeting requirement. We've done that to make sure that prior to it becoming before the Planning and Zoning Commission and for Mayor and Council for a final decision, that a public hearing has to be, a community meeting has to be held, mail notices to 1,000 people at least 7 days prior, and they have to provide a summary sheet of all the comments that they receive at that community meeting. Regarding residential, we did make a distinction a little bit further down to show that in instances where there may be a nonprofit agency or an area where there's residential, say for instance, we have places of worship, hospitals, things like that may want to offer that service, that there are some additional provisions regarding pest control, trash, making sure that there's, a buffering between the residential community and this somewhat light commercial use, and also minimizing things like the traffic impact, noise, operational, and all the other things. I would say that having reviewed a few adult daycare facilities, I think the changes are adequate, and also considering the land use patterns in the city of Fairburn where you have commercial, residential, and then in some areas where there's a natural mix of the two. You just want to make sure that in those instances that there would be a way for folks to operate this facility but not become a nuisance to the surrounding area. I think there is definitely a need within the community. We had one, of course, applicant came to the last meeting just to inform council that that was their intent, but we wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to really take a thorough look, incorporate the changes that were asked for by council, and so that's the draft that's here before you. Good job, Mike. You got my presentation up. So, again, those key provisions, including the separation distance, establishing the maximum occupancy standard, and clarifying the state licensing. And I think probably one of the best additions that wasn't necessarily asked for, but that planning and safety procedures, having worked for a community that had adult daycare facilities and had, some of those situations where if they're not adequately screened, there's not safety procedures in place that you review before you approve it, you can end up thinking of all these things after the fact. So that's the draft that's before you, and I'm available to answer any questions that you may have about any particular section.
Okay, want to bring it to the floor. You have before you a text amendment. Recommended that mayor and council approve the text amendment regarding adult daycare facilities as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions, discussion? Yes, Councilwoman Benson?
Just one quick point of clarification, because you said that notices, if ever there was a need for a community meeting, would go out to 1,000 people.
1,000 feet.
1,000
Okay,
feet.
good. That's what I was clarifying. Thank you.
Right, yes, Councilwoman Davis?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Ms. Brookins, I was just looking at the maximum operating capacity that's listed here. It's saying not to exceed 40 adult participants. Is 40 a lot? I'm just asking.
I think it would
Seems
be
like a
based on the capacity of the facility. That may be lower depending on what the fire marshal says. They determine the occupancy, but the max would be 40. And then there's also the provision regarding outdoor space. So you can't just have an adequate space inside. You also have to have outdoor area in case, exercise, things like that, getting fresh air. I think that's really important to anybody's health, wellness, so that provision is there as well. And I would just say that as a part of reviewing this, this is not something that is allowed by right. Every single applicant will have to come before you, and they'll be able to present their floor plan and all of that information, so you'd be able to, gauge based on all the subject matter experts reviewing the request, presenting it to you in case we need to kind of lower that. So that would be an option.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And also, there are state requirements about staff to client ratios.
Yes, right.
Okay, Councilwoman Nichols?
Thank you. Hi, Denise. Thank you so much for this. This is this is significantly stronger than the first version, so thank you for listening to us and applying those updates. Really listen and execute it, so just thank you for that. But I do have a question around You answered around the 40, so that's going to be based on what the fire marshal and all of that says. Then, my question is more around residential impacts. So the ordinance is permitting facilities in R-1, R-2, and R-3 if they're associated with a church or hospital. So I guess how are our homeowners protected when a facility is proposed for a church or institutional site?
So as a part of the notification process, as mentioned, there's a 1,000 feet requirement for the community meeting, and then the public meeting before the Planning and Zoning Commission is another opportunity for the general public. And then there's a third meeting, and that is the public hearing before mayor and council. So there would be various notices and opportunities for residential community members to come out, and if they have concerns, to be able to voice them.
Okay. And then also realistically, if we look at all of these restrictions, how many facilities could Fairburn actually have with this business type?
I think that's a bit hard to determine. I would say that we've created an opportunity where anyone can request it, but it's restrictive enough that there's a process in place that would not have this coming up on every block. So we do have that distance requirements as well. And we don't typically have a lot of requests for adult daycare facilities. But I think having it be a use permit allows for whomever is applying to have to at least go through several steps and provide some information before you, so that there's an informed member of the public will know what's going on, and then council still has the final say-so on, making sure that the correct conditions are in there.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Other questions? Okay. And so I'd like to remind council that we opened and closed the public hearing at the last meeting. So we're not required to do another public hearing. And, but we will call for a vote of the text amendment with the recommended additions that were proposed by council from the last meeting. So is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? That motion carries. Next item.
The next item, Mayor, is the oath of office for Councilmember Samuel Perry.
Councilman Perry and my colleagues, please join me. Family. I don't see you. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay. All right.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, no problem. Okay. All right, sir. Councilman Perry, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, your name, do solemnly swear or affirm
Do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully and truthfully
that I will faithfully and truthfully
perform the duties of councilperson of the city of Fairburn,
perform the duties of councilperson of the city of Fairburn,
and I will support and defend the United States Constitution,
and I will support and defend the United States Constitution,
the Constitution of the state of Georgia,
the Constitution of the state of Georgia,
the charter and codes of the city of Fairburn,
the charter and codes of the city of Fairburn,
to the best of my skill and ability,
to the best of my skill and ability,
and as to me shall seem to be
and as to me shall seem to be
the best of interest and welfare of the city,
best of interest and welfare of the city,
without fear,
without fear,
favor,
favor,
or affection.
or affection.
I do further swear or affirm
Do further swear or affirm
that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money,
that I am not the holder of any unaccounted public money
do this, do this state or any political subdivision
do this state or any political subdivision
or authority thereof,
or authority thereof,
that I am not the holder
that I am not the holder,
of any office or trust under the government of the United States,
that I am not the holder of any office of trust of the government of the United States.
you are retired, right?
I am retired.
Okay. And any other state,
And any other state
and any foreign state,
or any foreign state,
which by the laws of the state of Georgia,
which by the laws of the state of Georgia,
I am prohibited from holding,
I am prohibited from holding,
and that I am otherwise qualified to be a public officer
and that I am otherwise qualified to be a public officer
according to the Constitution and laws of the state of Georgia.
according to the Constitution and laws of the state of Georgia.
So help me God.
So help me God.
This 8th day of June, 2026, congratulations. Okay, and it has been signed by me as mayor of the city of Fairburn and signed by you as the office holder. Congratulations. That's yours. That's yours. Okay, thank you, thank you. Can we just get one group picture, please? Move this, move this.
I don't want to mess it up. All right.
Family, please. Okay, Sam, you'll be on the read. Okay, okay.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Nope, I'm gonna give Mike this. He said I'm gonna do it for the dais. I'm gonna do it for the dais.
That was great. Great.
I did.
So we will allow Councilman Perry to respond from the podium.
All right, so first, giving all honor and glory to God for him. Without him, none of us would be here. I'd like to say thank you. Today, as I take this oath of office, I'm humbled and honored to serve the people of Fairburn. I do so with deep gratitude and profound sense of responsibility to work every day for our residents, our taxpayers, and our community's future. I will work tirelessly to uphold the values of accountability, transparency, teamwork, and mission-focused leadership. My 37 years of military service taught me that service is both an honor and a privilege. Service to country, service to community, and service to something greater than yourself. That same commitment guides me now as I step into this role for the people of Fairburn. I'm thankful for the opportunity to continue serving and to contribute to the continued growth in the progress of our home, the city of Fairburn. My pledge is simple: to serve with the same dedication I brought to every formation, every mission, and every day in uniform, to be a trustworthy, grounded leader. I accept the responsibility to serve with humility, integrity, and respect for the trust that you, our residents and voters, have placed in me. I'm grateful for that trust, and I will work hard to earn it and keep it every day. I will do my best to serve Fairburn with honor, to strengthen our neighborhoods, and to help build a fiscally responsible future worthy of the people who call this city home. Lastly, I want to acknowledge and thank all those who have supported me along this journey. Your encouragement, patience, and belief in me have made this moment possible, and I'm deeply grateful for your strength and continued sacrifice. To all military members, police officers, firefighters, and emergency responders, please know that I will always stand with you as you defend and support our community. And to our beloved seniors, our youth, our local religious leaders, our businesses, and to our neighbors, I look forward to continued engagement as we work together to move Fairburn forward. Again, thank you for your confidence and trust. And if I may say one last thing, residents of Fairburn, I want you to know that I believe that you have probably the best city council and mayor out of all the municipalities that I've went to, that I've experienced in my short-term tenure here. I can't say how much people look to Fairburn and they see that our city is a beacon of light. Can't say that how much people respect the work that we do here, the residents that we have here, and in large part, that's due to you, the residents of the city, how you represent, and also to the staff that we have here that represents our city day to day, the line workers, the firefighters, the police, everyone. We all work together to make this our home and this our place. So just keep being neighborly, take care of each other's kids, take care of your friends, your neighbors, and continue loving on everybody. Amen.
Amen. Madam Clerk, next item.
Item number 5 is acceptance of certification of election results. The recommendation is for mayor and council to approve and accept the certified election results from Fulton County elections for the general special primary election held on May the 19th, 2026.
Please proceed.
Okay. In February 2026, the city of Fairburn publicly advertised a special election to fill an unexpired city council term. During March 4th through the 6th, 2026 was a qualifying period where 3 candidates qualified for the election: Samuel Perry, Samantha Hudson, and James W. Hurst. On April 13th, 2026, the mayor and council approved an intergovernmental agreement with Fulton County for the provision and administration of election services. Pursuant to that agreement, Fulton County conducted the election, prepared the ballot, administered voting, and certified the results in accordance with Georgia law. The ballot presented to voters clearly stated that the election was being held to fill an unexpired city council term. During the ballot review process, the Secretary of State's office requested that Fulton County identify the reason for the vacancy on its ballot contest documentation. The reason recorded for administrative purposes was impeachment. The election was held on May 19th, 2026. Following the election, Fulton County certified the results on May the 26th, 2026 without change. Accordingly, the official election records reflect that the city properly called a special election to fill an unexpired city council term. Fulton County administered the election pursuant to law, and the certified results remain unchanged. We have city council results: Samuel Perry with 1,630 votes, Samantha Hudson with 1,291 votes, and James Hurst with 518 votes.
Okay, members of council, you have before you the recommendation to accept the certification of the election results. Is there a motion?
So
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is
It
that
is-
Benson or Davis first made a motion?
First motion, Davis, second, Benson.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, unanimous vote. That motion carries. Next item, please.
The next item is number 6, Georgia Municipal Association Voting Delegate. This is a recommendation from Mayor and Council to approve a voting delegate for the 2026 Annual Business Meeting in Savannah, Georgia, held during the annual Georgia Municipal Association GMA Conference.
What's the recommendation? That's not being read?
Well, we have to vote for a
Oh,
voting
we're on-
delegate.
okay. All right, let's bring the item to the floor. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, discussion. Recommendation. I would ask Councilwoman Davis, given she is the president of the Georgia Municipal Association's Training Board, and so I would ask her for recommendation, suggestion, including herself.
Not myself. I have enough. I think our newly voted in, sworn in council member, Major Samuel Perry would be an excellent choice.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? Okay, it has been moved and second that Councilman Samuel Perry to be the delegate, GMA delegate, on behalf of the city of Fairburn. Next item, please.
Next item is number 7, the Georgia Municipal Association Parade of Flags. This is a recommendation for mayor and council to decide if the city will participate in the Parade of Flags and which elected official will carry the flag.
Right, you have before you a decision regarding participating in the GMA Parade of Flags and who will carry Fairburn's flag in this event. Is there a motion? Is there a motion?
No, we have to,
So moved.
Okay, just bring it to
So
the floor.
moved. So moved.
Okay, second.
Second.
Okay, recommendation. Yes, you, all GMA.
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis.
Honorary Councilman Major Samuel Perry. We're gonna start you off right.
That's right.
I see.
Okay, so, given that you've identified someone, you are also saying that we should participate in the Parade of Flags. And the person to carry Fairburn's flag in this parade is Councilman Perry. Is, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, that motion carries. Next item.
the next item is number 8, resolution appointing MEAG primary and alternate voting delegates. This is a recommendation for mayor and council to approve a resolution to appoint Mayor Hattie Portis Jones to serve as the City of Fairburn's voting delegate on the Municipal Electric Authority of Georgia's, MEAG, Election Committee, and appoint the Utilities Director, Derek Hampton, to remain as the alternate voting delegate in those same elections.
You have before you recommendation for the mayor and the utility director to be the voting and the alternate voting delegate for MEAG, which is the Municipal Electric, and I would do that, and I don't remember all of the acronyms. Okay, so, yes, Director Hampton.
Yes, so for consideration before you is a resolution to update the voting delegates for matters related to the Municipal Electric Authority of Georgia. As you know, they are the wholesale power provider for the city of Fairburn. Thus, we are able to vote on things such as the board of directors and certain contractual changes that they may desire. The resolution in place was executed in 2024 and included adding myself and former Mayor Avery as the voting delegates. We are requesting another update to reflect the current Mayor, Hattie Portis Jones, and myself as the designated voting delegates for MEAG.
Any discussion?
I have one question.
Yes,
How
please.
long is the, like, how often do we have to vote on this committee? Like, for the term?
The term, so basically every year or two, it depends on when, because they stagger the term, so they don't all roll off at the same time, kind of like the same thing with ECG. So they'll serve a few years, and then 2 or 3 of them may roll off. So probably every year to 2 years, but it really depends. Sometimes people retire, so they get off the board and things of that nature. So it's really no set time, just whenever their terms expire. And I think they're on 3-year terms.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. So is there a motion to approve?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Second, it's been moved and second. Moved by Councilwoman Benson, approved by Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposition? And that motion carries. Number 9.
The next item is number 9, Consumer Price Index CPI Rate Increase Request from Advanced Disposal, doing business as Georgia Waste Systems LLC. The recommendation is for mayor and council to approve the request from Advanced Disposal, DBA Georgia Waste Systems LLC for Consumer Price Index CPI rate increase of 3.3 effective June the 1st, 2026 for commercial solid waste and recycling services.
Thank you, Dina. That was a mouthful. So, in accordance with the agreement with Waste Management, there's a section that allows them to come back before you guys annually and make a price adjustment based on the consumer price index, and it's not to exceed 4% in any one year. This year, it was in your packet, the CPI came in at 3.3%. So what they are requesting for this year would be an increase of services on commercial sanitation customers of 3.3%. This does not affect residential customers, and it is of no budgetary impact to the city because it's between them and the customers directly. And I do have Alan Owens here. If anybody has any excruciating questions you'd like to ask Alan. Or would you like to speak on your own?
Just real quick. Good evening, Madam Mayor and governing body. We have some new council members, so I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Alan Owens, and I'm the public sector manager for Waste Management. So don't get confused with the titles, because you have Georgia Waste System LLC, which is our local subsidiary here. We purchased Advanced Disposal maybe about 6 years ago. So we haven't amended the agreement to use Waste Management. So when you see my card or you see me, I'm representing Waste Management. So that's where you see all the different titles, Advanced Disposal and Georgia Waste Systems. So Georgia Waste Systems is the LLC that is legally required from the contract, and Waste Management is a subsidiary of Georgia Waste Systems. So that's the first kind of introduction. And Director Hampton said it as well. So you have 2 sanitation providers or haulers in the city of Fairburn. You have a residential, and then you have the commercial. We represent the commercial, which does not affect anything to do with the residential. With our agreement, we service the commercial customers, and I will say kudos to the city administrator and assistant city administrator. They put a structure in place where now permitting any new business or business that is coming in, now, again, they emphasize it has to use Waste Management as that. And in turn, the city gets their royalties on a monthly and quarterly basis. So, again, I give them kudos because now we've increased the amount of businesses that were in Fairburn that wasn't using us, are now using us based on the structure that they put in place. So I just wanted to give an introduction of myself, the difference, and then normally I come in front of you all asking for more than 3.3% or 4%, but again, we understand with fuel costs and everything else that we just are okay with the 3.3% for the commercial customers. Any questions?
Yes, Councilwoman Davis?
Just a statement. With all that new business you're getting, then you don't need this 3.3% increase, right?
I would say, I don't need it, but it's good for the city. So.
I'm just teasing.
So,
Yes, hold on. Yes, Councilwoman Nichols? No, I called you, so go ahead.
got enough, I'm dragging.
Yes, thank you for that. I do have a few questions. So Derek, thank you for the clarification, because you knew my questions was, how's this gonna affect the taxpayers? How's this affecting our budget? So this is just commercial, but I still am concerned about, or not concerned, just want questions around the 3.3%, and what is the actual percent? This is the increase. This is not the actual, like, percent of what their rate is?
No, so the rates vary based on the services that provide. So if they have an 8-yard container or a compactor, that 3% is added to that rate.
Those okay. So, and we do this annually. Every year we are reassessing this.
Yep, sometimes I come in and ask for more, but this year, again, we're like, the economy, 3.3, I'm not even asking for 4%, so.
And it's tied to a specific provision of their contract.
Okay,
That
I was gonna
allows them
ask,
to
what are the
petition
contractual
council.
implications? That
Right,
was-
and it's tied specifically to the consumer price index. It can never exceed 4%, but it's tied directly to consumer price index under the methodology that as the economy changes, that CPI would reflect that change.
Okay, and then what is the remaining term of this current contract? Like, when does it expire, do we know?
We renew,
I think the contract is on its 6th or 7th amendment. It was initially executed back in 2009. I think the current amendment expires in March of 2027.
Okay. And my last question, how are these rates comparing with some of our neighboring municipalities, like Union City, Fulton, Palmetto, College Park?
I think they're comparable, right? Just based on kind of the royalties that you receive compared to others. It's right on par.
Okay. All right, well, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Councilman Perry?
Can our residents expect the increase on the residential side?
Different carrier.
Wrong guy.
Yeah, yeah.
I come with gifts to the city. I don't know about the other.
That's handled by a different provider.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other question? No. Okay. All right, may I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Opposition? No, that motion carries. Next item?
Mayor, was that Mayor Pro Tem Smallwood that seconded that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. The next item is going to be number 10, approval of the contract award to Soul Construction LLC. This is a recommendation for mayor and council to approve the contract award to Soul Construction LLC for the Strickland Street Pedestrian Improvements Project for the bid amount of $388,932.87.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The invitation for bid for the Strickland Street Pedestrian Improvement Project was advertised on April 22nd, 2026. The bid opening date was May 22nd, 2026, at which time the 11 bids received were opened and read aloud. After completion of the bid evaluation, it was determined that Soul Construction LLC was the lowest responsive and responsible bidder with a bid price of $388,932.87. The budget impact, of course, will be $388,932.87. The project expenditures will come out of T-SPLOST funds. No general funds will be used on this project.
Okay, you have before you recommendation to approve the contract award to Soul Construction LLC. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay,
I do have something.
yes, Councilwoman Nichols?
Hi, thank you, but I have two questions for you.
Okay.
Can you share what the engineer's estimate was of this project? I know we got 11 bids, and they kind of range from different projects, but do we know what the engineer?
It's about $500,000, so it came in
Okay,
below
so we
budget.
got, okay. And then, as this project takes place, are there any known utility conflicts or site conditions that could result in future change orders with this project of work? And
None
then
that
are
I'm
we
aware of.
budgeting for anything like that?
Budgeting for change orders?
Or just change orders and any potential, I guess,
Unforeseen.
unforeseen problems that come up because this is gonna be affecting potentially utilities and so.
So Fairburn Utilities is going to be the utility provider on this project that's going to provide the electricity to the pedestrian lighting. So we already got that accounted for.
Okay.
The topography is not one where we anticipate any construction issues.
Okay. And what is the timeline of this project?
90 days.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
This is a connectivity project as well, too. So we already did the Orchard Street, Strickland Street Pedestrian Improvement Project, which was awarded, I think, 2 council meetings ago. That's the NTP was on that was Monday, and this is a connectivity project to connect that one. But that one was paid for with CDBG funding.
Okay.
And T-Splosh funding. So this will connect that project and the improvements that were done, in association with the Evergreen project on Elder Street.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions? All right. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, please.
Next item is number 11, approval of the contract award to Shepco Paving Incorporated. The recommendation is for mayor and council to approve the contract award to Shepco Paving Incorporated for the roadway improvements on various city streets project for the bid amount of $2,008,660.20.
The invitation for bid was April 22nd, 2026. The bid opening date was May 22nd, 2026, at which time 9 bids were received and read aloud. After completion of the bid evaluation, it was determined that Shepco Paving was the lowest responsible bidder with a bid price of $2,008,666.20. The funding source, this is important to know, the first $253,421.47 will come from a grant that we were awarded, an LMIG grant. The second $276,464.46 will come from another grant that we was awarded, the LRA grant. So collectively, out of that $2,529,885.93 is funded by grants. The remaining project expenditures, which is $1.478,774.27, will come out of T-Splosh funds. So nothing, this will not impact the general funds at all.
Okay.
With this project, we're kind of residential focused, so we're doing about 8 miles of centerline roadway, to include 8 subdivisions.
Could you go ahead and state the various streets if you have those listed?
Yes, that's what I was going to ask. He's ready.
Just please, just read them, please.
You know he gets excited.
I know, just read them.
He's alive. Well, look, he made copies.
You know he get excited.
Oh, this is
This is,
readable.
what can I say?
You got color this time, don't it?
What can I say about
Thank you,
it?
sir.
Oh, this is
This is,
It's 2.
this is gold
Okay,
standard.
you can have them, just,
Are they
okay.
the same?
You got it?
Oh, okay, I got
I'll keep it.
it. He earned his name. His nickname is gold.
Y'all better pay.
You know I like visual aids.
Because that was my question, what are these roads?
What's everybody's name?
Which roads were in?
We can share this with us.
Yes, I'd like them read into the record, please. Yes, please.
Roadway or just the
Yes.
subdivisions?
Every roadway.
All right, so in the Fireside Heights subdivision, we have Splitwood Lane, Fieldstone Drive, Ember Court, and Hearth Way. In the Victoria Estates subdivision, we have Victoria Drive and Royal Court. Not in a subdivision, but we're also doing East Campbellton Street, Willow Creek Road, Valley Brook Drive. In the Cobblestone Glen subdivision, we have Trotter's Circle, Champions Trail, Horseshoe Lane, Belmont Terrace, Bluegrass View. The Creekwood Village subdivision, we have Creekwood Ridge Drive, Devon Court, Devon Lane, and Carl Court and Signature Trace. In the Estates of Avalon subdivision, we have Avalon Way, Liberty Heights, Bluebird Lane, Raven Trace, Oriole Lane, Avalon Terrace, Cardinal Court. In the Fieldstone Manor subdivision, we have Jacqueline Way to include frontage Camden Way, Ben Lane, Lauren Drive, Broadleaf Trail Road, Lassie Lane, Shortleaf Road, Longleaf Circle. In the Enclave at Durham Lake subdivision, we have Shadow Creek Court, Worthington Lane, Shadow Glen Drive, and Rivera Court. Not in the subdivision, we have Blue Flag Lane, Small Elk Court, and Tall Deer Drive. In the St. John's Crossing subdivision, we have Winding Brook Way, Winding Crossing Trail, and Crosswinds Walk.
Okay, thank you. And you did say the time frame for this project?
I did not say the time frame.
Okay.
The time frame for this project is a pretty significant project. It'll be 120 days.
120 days. Okay. Are there any additional questions?
Yes, I do.
Yes, Councilwoman Nichols?
Yes, thank you. These are a lot of streets. How did we prioritize certain streets?
So at the beginning of T-Splosh, we do what we call a pavement evaluation, and it's based off that pavement evaluation.
And then, after all this is done, what would you say percentage or that's left of Fairburn that would need more road work? Is this like a significant amount of all of the road work that we need, or?
I'd have to get back with you with an exact number, but last year I think we did about 7 miles. The year before that, 10 miles. So we've done a considerable amount of roadway. I think we have a collective amount of about 96 centerline miles in Fairburn. So in the 5 years of T-Splosh, we've hit all the roads that were in distress. Some of the roads don't need to be paved because they're new roads. So we've hit a significant amount of roads, and not to include the full depth reclamation projects that were done in the industrial areas. So I could follow back up with
Okay, I'm just
exact
curious to
number
know
if that's
what
you
is,
want,
this seems like a very, like a significant, huge project, so I'm excited about that, but I was just curious to know, like, are we just making a dent in some of the road work, or is this like?
96 centerline miles,
like
and this is
half?
8. So the
Okay.
previous year we did about 8. Year before that, about 10. So, and then out of those 96, probably say about 30, 40 don't even need any resurfacing or anything like that because they're already in good condition. So, hope that kind of
This
answers
aligns
your
with our
question.
previous year's paving projects, and so it's in that same scope.
Okay.
It varies somewhere between 8 and 10 miles each year, depending on the scope and what the T-Splosh funds will provide for.
And the reason we're able to do that because we combine T-Splosh funds with LMIG funds to take advantage of the economy of scale. So we get a larger project done at a lower unit price, so we're able to kind of spread our money.
It's significant.
In the case that a road that's not on here needed significant work, we are able to change roads based on this project? Could we substitute something in if there was
I don't want to take away a road that we committed to, but
Yeah.
it may be some cost savings, so we may be able to do
Okay.
additional roads. So it's an open-ended contract. We can add additional road
That's
as the funding allows.
It may require that we have to do, use general fund
Yeah.
dollars in order to do this. Yes.
Yeah.
Done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Perry?
I don't have a question, I just have a comment. I think it's fantastic that you're able to get 25% of this project paid for with grant money, thereby saving the taxpayers of Fairburn, almost $500,000 or over $500,000. So kudos to you and your staff for continuing to work for the taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Benson?
Just two quick questions. One, I know you gave the timeline. When is the anticipated start date for this?
So once, or if mayor and council approve it,
Exactly.
then I'll notify the successful contractor probably Wednesday, once we get the signed contract back so they can execute the contract and get us the payment of performance bonds, the insurance, and all those other paperwork issues, and then we'll set up a reconstruction meeting, and then thereafter issue the NTP. So I would say give us about 25 days, just say 30 days.
Okay. And then part two of that is when construction begins, or I should say repaving begins, is there a way that we can notify the citizens? Because there have been instances in the past when repaving starts, especially in the cases of subdivisions, where, you know, people are trying to get to work and all of a sudden they weren't aware of the fact that they needed to leave a little earlier because there would be, you know, one-lane roads and things like that. So can we make sure that we communicate that ahead of time so that people know?
Yes, ma'am, we'll make that a priority.
Thank you.
And then I just like to say, yes, the fact that we have a general fund source of funding to do road resurfacing is absolutely fantastic. But we're only given 5 years, and we're coming up on the end of the five years. So this is an issue county-wide that must be redecided. So it will show up on the ballot next, I believe this November.
November, yes, ma'am.
For renewal for another 5 years, because this current 5 years will end March 31st, 2027. And if all cities, I believe, have to approve the T-Splosh, which is an extra percentage sales tax that is split among all of the cities in Fulton County based on population, all must approve. If it is not approved via ballot, then we will lose this source of funding. But you will hear more about the T-Splosh renewal. T3 is now what it's called, as we go into budget discussions, and we'll have an in-depth conversation about this. Just wanted to make you aware of that.
Prior to T-Splosh, our only source of funding for citywide road resurfacing was LMIG funds, which is Local Maintenance Improvement Grant.
And that's not guaranteed either.
No. And it was significantly less. I think at the time when I first got here, it was like $300,000. So talking about almost 100 centerline miles, trying to do the $300,000 annually just is not enough money.
It's true. And many citizens can tell that roads were not repaved. There were long gaps in getting the repaving done. That's because we couldn't afford it. But, you know, we were lucky enough, 2 iterations, so for the past 10 years, T-Splosh funding, all of the cities in the county approved it. And so we'll need to do it again if we want this to continue. But as I said, we will have further discussions about this, okay? Did you want to say something, Mr. Phillips?
Mayor, you summarized that perfectly.
Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, if there are no further questions, is there a motion to approve the recommended roads that will be funded by T-Splosh and 2 grants in the amount of $2,008,660.20?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? That motion carries. Next item, please.
The next item is number 12, grant agreement under the fiscal year 2025 Safe Streets and Roads for All grant programs. Recommendation for mayor and council to approve the grant agreement between the United States Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration, and the City of Fairburn in the amount of $400,000 for the City of Fairburn Safe Streets Comprehensive Safety Action Plan.
On December 23rd, 2025, the City of Fairburn was notified by the U.S. Department of Transportation that the project, City of Fairburn Safe Streets Comprehensive Safety Action Plan, submitted in response to the fiscal year 2025. Notice of funding opportunity was selected for a $400,000 award in federal funding. This includes funding for a new action plan. The project creates a comprehensive safety action plan with with the goal of preventing roadway fatalities and serious injuries throughout the city of Fairburn. This includes improving safety on our road for all roadway users, including pedestrians, cyclists, motorists, and public transportation. This plan will help the city reach its goal of achieving 0 traffic fatalities and severe injuries.
All right, you have before you a recommendation to approve a grant agreement between the United States Department of Transportation and the City of Fairburn in the amount of $400,000 for the City of Fairburn Safe Streets Comprehensive Safety Action Plan. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Congratulations.
We haven't voted yet.
I have some questions. I have some questions.
Okay, yes, Councilwoman Nichols?
Yes, it's me again with a few questions. So when I was reading it, it said we have to match 100,000 to the 400. Where's the 100,000? Where are we sourcing those funds from?
T-Splosh funds.
Okay, T-Splosh, that's what I assumed. Didn't want to make assumptions. And then, this is just the action plan. This is not actual work. This is just us.
To develop
Develop a
safety
plan.
Developing
action
a plan,
And
yes.
then upon that plan, that's how you're eligible to receive the actual construction funding.
Okay. And
Projects
then,
that are derived from that plan.
and the final plan has to be completed in 2029, right?
Correct.
So will we be able to take the opportunity to get community input to make
That's a
sure
part
like
of the-
that's a part of the
that's
plan?
part of the-
Okay.
PE process.
And do we know that, hold on, I'm sorry, let me just, because you answered a few of my questions already, so thank you for that. So can you tell us what type of projects would be eligible for, under this plan for future federal funding or any funding?
Yeah, so intersection improvements, things that would prevent, and I guess bicycle and pedestrian improvements, so roundabouts would be eligible for it, speed, traffic calming measures and things of that nature, so.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you continuing to try to figure out ways to not put the burden on taxpayers and use the federal government for what they should be doing to us anyway. So thank you for that. And yeah, those are all my questions.
And I will say, access to federal monies, even though it's ours, is not automatic. We have to work hard for it, we have to fight for it, we have to advocate for it. And that's why, working with our federal partners, that's why our presence in Washington in various ways, in various communication, and that's why having the various relationships, because not only do our federal partners, we lobby and advocate them to vote, but they're only one vote. So we need to know other federal partners as well. And you don't get to know them unless you're at the table with them. And so that's what our, our training, travel and training dollars allows us to do. And so, and the fact that we have elevated going after grants, we didn't always do that. And so that has become an intentional effort and focus of this administration. But I will say it was started under the previous administration due to the push and advocacy on my part as being, a major participant in federal advocacy, and that has brought numerous grant dollars to the city of Fairburn. But as I said, we have to work extremely hard to get this money, and we have to continuously tell our story about what we're needed, about what is needed. And I will also say, to remind all of us, that we are situated between 4 U.S. highways that we don't control, but has a tremendous impact on us. That coupled with a federal highway 85. And so we have to be mindful of what is happening to us, and we have to be sure to tell others what is happening to us. Even though we don't control it, they control it. But if we don't say anything and we're there not at the table, we don't get attention. And that is why it is so important that we continue to advocate. But we can't do it being in silos and just being inside the city. We have to go to where the power players are, okay? And so, thank you, Lester. He has been, over the decade, one of those advocates that would help us find whatever money we can find to help us with public works in this city. And we've been able to do a lot because we've leveraged a very important word. We have leveraged the dollars that we have with the dollars that are available to us. But we have to go get it. We have to find it. So, thank you. Yes, Ms. Chris?
I just want to say, I want to thank our partners and consultants from iParametrics. I would say we've had a huge uptick in the number of applications that we've been able to submit, and this was a very strong one. And we're confident and hope that we submitted another strong one today with the Federal Highway Administration for some more projects in Fairburn. But without their help, I'm not sure that this would be possible, but they've been a strong partner for us in this area.
Thank you. Councilwoman Benson?
Kind of piggybacking off of what you had mentioned, there have been times when we've talked about roads that need to be improved that are, state roads, et cetera. Would this possibly enable us to do that, like crosswalks that are needed on 29, for example, that we don't fully control? You mentioned roundabouts and things of that nature.
That's the one I'm primarily thinking about, the roundabouts that could possibly be, and then even not the shared bike lanes, but protected bike lanes. They pay for those too, so because it's about bicycle and pedestrians as well as motorists. So speed calming issues, intersection control issues. So anything that comes out of this study as a recommendation, we can pursue federal funding for.
Very good.
All right. As they say, what's the word about if you don't plan, you plan to fail? What is that saying?
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yes, right. Say that again, Mr. Phillips.
If you fail to plan, plan to fail.
Okay, so this $400,000 is to do that, okay? All right, any other questions or comments? Oh, God. Okay, any other questions or comments?
Just congratulations.
Well, we haven't voted yet.
I'm still.
Okay. Yes, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there-
Second.
Okay. Motion by Benson, second by Davis. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? Okay, thank you. That motion carries. Next item.
The next item, Mayor, is number 13, liability insurance renewal and premium finance agreement. This is a recommendation for Mayor and Council to proceed with the recommended liability insurance renewal for fiscal year 26-27 with a policy premium of $2,076,924.80, and to authorize the mayor to execute all documents necessary to bind the coverage for the 2026-2027 policy year. Woo.
Okay. Mr. Smith, go ahead.
Good evening, Mary.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
Wonderful.
Good. I stand before you tonight to help to actually just to renew our insurance, our liability insurance for the city of Fairburn for the next 17 months as we discussed at the Mayor and Council retreat. We normally have done this in the past 2 years during this May-June timeframe. That's because the way our current insurance is set up, which was part of pre-existing insurance policy that we had, and with this before you on the agenda tonight is to get us to a policy that aligns with our fiscal year. As, again, we discussed at the retreat, this policy is for 17 months, which would be longer than a normal 12-month. But that is only this one-time event, so that going into the FY 27-28 budget in that October, it will then go back to the 12-month policy, which will be in line with our fiscal year, so that we don't have to come before you in mid-year asking for additional funds to be able to fully fund the insurance for the full policy year, which is not aligned with our fiscal year currently.
Okay, you have before you a recommendation to approve liability insurance renewal for fiscal year 26-27 with a policy premium of $2,076,924.80, and to authorize the mayor to execute all documents necessary to bind the coverage for 26-27 policy year. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Perry, by Perry. Discussion, questions? No?
Yes.
Okay, yes, Councilwoman Nichols?
So thank you for the clarification that this is 17-month, but after that, we'll go to an annual cadence that's aligned with our fiscal year. So thank you for pre-answering that. One of the things I noticed, and maybe you can just clarify, is Gallagher noted that there was an exposure increased by nearly 21%, and that's like due to, I guess, I don't know, assets, properties. Can you just
Sure, the
explain
20.
that a little bit?
Yes, ma'am. Was that the only question for now?
The second question is just, what was our premium last year? I'm just thinking of, so.
Absolutely. So the increase we saw was 27%. That was mainly due, 21% of that, to what we call exposure increase, which means assets. More buildings, more police vehicles, more property, more laptops, more tough books. All of those things add value to our insurance. The more things we have to insure, the higher insurance costs. The other percentage, that 5.5%, was due to just the increase of the market and the cost of insurance. The market went up about 10%, 12%, right, Matt? Yep, and we only saw 5%.
Okay.
So we actually doing really good in Fairburn, only got 5% compared to our other, I won't say competitors, but our contemporaries who saw 10%.
Awesome. Okay, any other questions? You done, Councilman?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, Perry?
All right, it has to be signed by the mayor because it's over the 50K, right?
Yes, this is so the $2 million for the entire policy. So that, along with the financing, which outlays us doing down payments and several installment payments, are almost the down payment is $622 and some change, and the other down payments are nearly $500,000. So yes, that agreement needs to be signed by the mayor.
And that was my other one, the installments, or is this one lump sum?
It's installments. The way the financing work, and we've chose to finance, is you do the down payment and then you do 3 or 4 more installment payments to finish paying the balance of the money to our brokers to be insured, which has been easier to digest on our financial budget rather than asking Mayor and Council, you all at mid-year for another $2 million at mid-year. So this way but in October of 28, I'll come back and say, can I get all of it at one time? That's the annual budget. It'll be in the annual budget. Okay. Yeah. But since it wasn't the annual budget, we've been trying to break it up in finance.
All right, so again, this pretty much lines everything up fiscal year. So it makes it easier for us to digest as we're going along.
Yes, sir.
That's why it's the big increase. So when we come back, 28, we won't be looking at $2 million.
Well, I can't promise that because if you increase exposure, which means buildings, assets, vehicles, laptops, computers, that means that the cost of what we have to insure will increase. So I can't promise that the number will go down, and inflation.
So all city employees are going to be doing defensive driver training.
They already do. That too. We already do that now, sir.
Hey, I love it. I love it. Everything. I mean, everything that we can do, classes, virtual, so that we can, bring our rates down. I absolutely agree with that. And I guess my last question, Gallagher.
Yes.
They came before us for HR?
So Gallagher in
Is
whole,
this the same or is this different?
there's a large corporation. Matt, you want me to talk about your company, or you want me to do talking about your company? Yeah, go ahead. All right. So Gallagher's kind of a large corporation that has different hats, and so the hat that help HR do the comp study is a little bit different from the hat that Matt and his division do, which is part of the insurance and risk management consulting division.
Well, come on up, Matt, if you could talk about this discount that you're gonna help the city of Fairburn with, since multi-policy discount, right?
Yes. Ooh. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, members of the council. No, what Mr. Smith was talking about. So Gallagher's a very large global corporation. The compensation consulting study that was done by a separate division of Gallagher. I'm a member of the J. Gallagher Risk Management Services, LLC. We do the property casualty risk management consulting. That would have been a division of our Gallagher Benefits Services Incorporated, which does benefits brokerage, but also does compensation consulting studies. So that is same company, different division, not me.
However, same company,
Yes, sir.
multi-policies?
Not a policy, a study.
We need to talk about that. We got
Yes,
a
sir.
lawyer, we got a lawyer that can help us out with that.
Yes, sir. Understood.
All right, any other questions? Okay.
If I could, just to clarify that, the other reason to your point about the dollar value of this is that this liability, it says liability, it covers, to Matt's point, the property, the excess, the cybersecurity, the terrorism, the crime, all of that are coverages in this large binder packet of policy of coverages for the entire city. So any of those incidents or events are covered under these policies. This one large program is policy. And this, also to your point, maybe disappointed, Councilman Perry, this does not include, say, new buildings being constructed right now.
Uh-huh.
Mhm. So that's why as your assets increase,
By 2028, we have a new, really nice building that will get added to this policy.
right.
Yeah.
Now, Matt's gonna work really hard, but I can't promise you that the number will go down, but we will do as best we can. But we do have good insurance, and we want to keep having great insurance. I will tell you that our claims have decreased, as we discussed at the retreat, every year since we've been self-insured. So we are seeing the claims go down. So the training and the collaboration with my colleagues is working. So we'll continue to do that on the safety front, to do proper training for our staff, and then also prayer so that things unexpectedly don't happen as much as we can avoid them.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And I would ask that as we go into budget discussions for the next fiscal year, that if risk management can just talk about how you do risk management for the city, to re-educate those of us who have been around for a minute, and to educate the new council members as well. All right, thank you. All right, any other questions? All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? Okay, that motion carries. Okay, next item?
The next item, Mayor, is council comments.
All right, we will begin with Mayor Pro Tem Smallwood.
No comments.
Okay, Councilwoman Nichols?
I just want to remind everyone that we have a runoff election. Early voting is now until June 12th. Runoff election date is June 16th, so please make sure that your voice is heard, as we have to continue to exercise our right to vote and use this as a tool to fight for our communities. Thank you.
Okay, Councilwoman Davis?
No comments tonight.
All right, Councilwoman Benson?
Very quickly, I would like to thank those who came out to Foodie Friday. It was abso-smurfly wonderful. And I encourage those in the city to get involved. There's so much going on this summer, and you don't have to travel far. Like, it's right here in our city. So go to the website, see what's coming up, and know that everyone that comes truly does enjoy themselves because you see your neighbors engaged in the city. We're all here, we're present to answer any questions and such, and so get involved. To say that you don't know at this point, you have no excuse because it's out there. So I put that challenge to you. Get involved, enjoy your city. Thank you.
Councilman Perry?
I'd just like my final comment to be a final salute to Lieutenant Mark Smith, to his family. Thank him for his service to not only Fairburn, but also Virginia, where he was previously. So rest in peace.
I echo that sentiment, Councilman Perry. Family has been strong. I've been in contact with them, but it is very difficult. And he has 5 children, so they lost a dad. I too want to remind you about the runoff election, but I want to specifically mention that there are 2 seats that are very, very important to us very directly as being a part of Fulton County. And that is the person who will represent us on Fulton County Commission, which is District 5. That seat is in a runoff, as well as the chairmanship is in a runoff. So please, please, please cast your vote for the persons who will directly represent us here in the county. And then I want to close with, Mr. Brooks mentioned all of the flags that are up at the Center. And all of those flags represent all of the countries that are playing in the World Cup, the FIFA World Cup. That is one of the recognition that the city of Fairburn has embarked upon to be a part of all of the excitement. As all of you know, we have 8 games that are going on here in Atlanta. And with that, we have a summer watch party that we're doing in partnership with Oz Pizza. And we will have a big screen out at the Frankie Arnold Courtyard and Stage, with the first game being Thursday, June 18th, Czechoslovakia versus South Africa. All right, and then the second screening will be Tuesday, July 7th. Of course, those teams to be determined. So please come out and watch. All right, so may I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second to go into executive session. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. We really appreciate it. And thank you all that watched us online.
Thank you.
Thank you.
have a hard reboot reset that has to happen. Nope, that's not it. You wipe them on hard force that you pull it up. I did it with my iPhone. Good.
That would be my children.
Bring a snack, bring something real cracky.
Okay. All right, may I have a motion to resume the council meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries. Madam Clerk?
Yes, we have a motion on the floor to authorize the mayor to acquire parcel 4 through donation that consists of approximately 498.71 square feet of permanent easement for construction, maintenance of slopes, and 1,008.76 square feet of temporary easement for construction of drives located in land lot 51 of the 9F District of Fulton County, Georgia, said parcel being more particularly described in Exhibit A attached here to and incorporated by reference.
Okay, you have heard the item to be approved. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? That motion carries. All right, next item.
Adjournment.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second? Second. Okay, motion by Councilwoman Davis, second by Councilwoman Nichols. All in favor? Aye. Opposition? Meeting is adjourned.
Woo, thank you.